Warning, the following communications are not authorized. Please disable your signals and report to your local re-education center immediately. Failure to comply will result in immediate reprimand and capital punishment.
We are live, Eric Butler. We are live. This is real. This is real life we're living in right now. How are you, my friend?
Amazing. How about yourself?
I guess amazing. My chair had something greasy on it, and you got to watch that. Got to watch that be cleaned. I promise you, it smells fine.
I will take your word.
The first thing that I was reading about today was a story about, I'll just read the headline, gunshot victims left waiting as horse dewormer overdoses overwhelm Oklahoma hospital. So this is about ivermectin, apparently the treatment that dare not be named because it's supposed to be a horse dewormer. Now, I think this is all in response to Joe Rogan saying that he used it and that he used a vitamin drip and an IV and rest and threw all the kitchen sink at it, basically recovered in 3 days. So this story came out from the Rolling Stone, which who knew that the Rolling Stone became, like, they basically became a news source once Trump got elected, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little bit earlier than that, but right, I mean, they were really supposed to be covering music, and I don't know what could be further from music than fake news about horse dewormer, but here we are.
They just had to step up, Eric. They just had to step up and defeat Trump. So I'll read the article, which has been since debunked.
Updated, as they
updated, exactly. The ERs are so backed up that gunshot victims were having hard times getting to facilities where they can get definitive care and be treated. Now, from what I read, oh, there we go. They've updated it here. From what I read, the guy that they use doesn't work there anymore. Northeastern Hospital System Sequoia issued a statement. Although Dr. Jason, so this is the guy. Before we get into that, we'll read the rest of it. The rise in people using ivermectin, an anti-parasitic drug usually reserved for deworming horses or livestock as a treatment or preventative for COVID, has emergency rooms so backed up that gunshot victims are having hard times getting access to health facilities. An emergency room doctor told in Oklahoma said. So this, of course, made the rounds everywhere. Eric, of course, made the rounds everywhere, Eric. I think it's in direct response to Joe Rogan's clip going viral, and people have always been wanting to talk about this drug. I don't know anything about it. I'm not going to claim one way or the other, but I know people talk about it as something that they can use, just like people talked about, vitamin C and zinc. Everybody's talked about it. And of course, Joe Rogan promotes health, and he said young people shouldn't get vaccinated if they're healthy. So there's all that.
It wasn't necessary, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but they hate that anyways. It doesn't really matter.
Have you seen so many of these articles being like, they'll show somebody who's like 300 pounds and it'll say healthy person urging people to get vaccinated now that they're in hospital?
Yeah, it's insane. And what I don't understand about this article, of course, we are, as corny as it may sound, in an informational war, right?
The info war.
But they kind of back off of actually saying the name of the drug because that might give it a little bit of legitimacy. So they just keep calling it horse dewormer. It's like,
yeah,
you
exactly.
could say the name of it. Right? Like ivermectin. It's actually easier than HCQ. Remember that?
Yeah, exactly. That's the other one. It says the overdoses are causing backlogs in rural hospitals, leaving both beds and ambulance services scarce. So I think obviously they're trying to target people that are more likely Republicans with this, but it turns out they were full of shit. Update.
Absolutely.
And I'll bring it back up. Northeastern Hospital System in a statement said, although Dr. Jason McElia, again, who is their source for this, is not an employee of them, he's affiliated with a medical staffing group that provides coverage for our emergency room. With that said, Dr. McElia has not worked in our location for over 2 months. So basically he's doing hearsay. This includes he's not treated any patients due to complications relating to taking ivermectin. This includes not treating any patients for ivermectin overdose. All patients who have visited our emergency room have received medical attention as appropriate. Our hospital is not to turn away any patients seeking emergency care So basically, every claim that he made, Eric, was not true. They're not overloaded in their emergency room. People aren't ODing on a dewormer, and people are still getting served. So Stephen Miller, who in my mind looks like Bam Margera, I don't know if he still does. I want to bring up his picture just in case he still looks like Bam Margera. A little bit, not as not as fat as Bam Margera.
He kind of does.
Anyways, so photograph the Rolling Stone used in their false ivermectin story is from January via the Associated Press and was for a vaccine drive for African Americans by a church. So I guess this is what they used. Yeah, from 2021, and let's see if they changed it. Or they're not using it anymore. It looks like so they used a fake photo and the wrong information. So here's something Jack Posobiec linked to from Zero Hedge. I've never approved of this. Oh, we're all Tyler Durden. We don't have any real authors, blah, blah, blah. But either way, because I saw Posobiec break this story, they've issued the update. Yeah, and he thinks it's Joe Rogan as well. 4 billion doses administered most recently as COVID-19 treatment. The left quickly started mocking Rogan. Here's the doctor. Let's see what else it says.
But so just out of curiosity, what happened to HCQ? That was all the rage,
I don't
8
know.
months ago. It just doesn't exist anymore?
Yeah, see, I think what happened there is they changed the article. Good stock photo, gunshot victim standing in line in hospital wearing winter coats in August. So they've since changed it to that photo because obviously that's not what they're talking about there. Is this... It's got to be. It seems like a hit job. Lately, I've been really, soul searching. Not really, but I keep trying to give like, what's the best excuse the other side, or what's the best case scenario of the people trying to say the opposite? Because we've reached a time in society now where like nobody believes anything, obviously for good reason, and for some people who are just government sycophants, you really have to break things down for them in order for them to get them to believe it. So I think the best case scenario was somebody at Rolling Stone took a break from their Led Zeppelin biography and was just like, oh, this is bad. Of course, they probably don't like Joe Rogan because he's a transphobe. And and this guy emailed us probably and said, and they're having to turn people away because of this. And this person did zero vetting, didn't call the hospital, didn't check the numbers on this stuff, which I would imagine would be, I don't know about there, but around here you can check the hospital capacity online. They have like a red and yellow. There's been a lot of stories on this where they've changed it over the course of the past year to make it seem more frightening, but the numbers are available. The numbers stayed the same, but like all of a sudden 89% was green and then 6 months later 90% was red. Didn't make any sense. But obviously this person didn't do any vetting. I wonder who the person is. If we can do some digging there. Peter Wade. Let's check him out, shall we?
But also, it's weird how they are now claiming that this horse dewormer is more dangerous than Rona. So they're not saying that it's backed up because of COVID people. They're saying it's overdoses from ivermectin. Like, so again, the goalposts move once again.
Peter Wade hasn't changed his stuff. He's still going with the old stock photo. He's got the retweet. Hey, you guys, other countries can see this right now. So his latest tweet is still his fake story, which is embarrassing, frankly.
And
not okay.
This update, this quote unquote update, I mean, it's not an update. It's literally you saying everything that we wrote in this article was false. Like
essentially, it's yeah, he was wrong about them turning people away. He was wrong about people being OD'd. He was wrong about people not getting treated for gunshot wounds. It was basically everything that he did was everything that they researched. This guy, they just took this guy's word for it. He doesn't even work there. He works for a company that helps staffing. What connection do you have? You heard from somebody is the best case scenario. Yeah, I work for an HR department that staffs, grocery stores, and I know what goes on in each individual grocery store. That'd be pretty hard sell for me.
Yeah, and it's probably just some weirdo COVID cultist who did the whole thing. Like they were probably out having dinner or something. It's like, it's just, you know what I mean? It's like it kind of reminds me of that It's Always Sunny episode where Charlie's talking about how he's gonna get his old high school coach in trouble. So he's just kind of like drunk sitting at the table. Is like, I'm gonna tell him that he molested me. He's just rambling stuff while he's drunk at the table, and then the guy takes it and runs with it, and then it turns out it's obviously all false, but it's too late. And the people on the left, D.L. Hughley, who
oh god,
yeah, he posted it. He posted it like 2 hours ago after it had already been proven false. He posted it and says, oh, these crazy Republicans, they're so stupid. It's like, dude,
I've never thought he was funny.
I don't know if I did think Bernie Mac was funny, R.I.P., but I don't know anything about
America.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that he was funny. I mean, maybe if I watch it now, he wouldn't be funny, but at the time, I remember kind of enjoying that show. I think Hughley also had a show that I don't remember at all. Like, I don't remember any of the bits or anything from it. Like, Bernie Mac had, milk and cookies and all sorts of like, catchphrases that were memorable. But neither here nor there. It's very sad to see D.L. Hughley post this after it had clearly already been debunked, and it's even more sad that you got all the weirdos in the comments. Like they are still eating this up. Like they claim it's about your health, and then they laugh and hope that you die when you do something that doesn't align with their weird, very cult-like beliefs. It's insane.
It always is the case that the original story gets way more traction than the retraction. That's just how it always works. People don't really follow up because
no, but he was late. I mean, he was already late. It wasn't like he posted it as soon as it wasn't like he reposted it as soon as Rolling Stone posted it. He posted it an hour or so ago after it was already labeled fake because he just refuses to do even he posted a picture of the tweet. He could have at least clicked the link and saw the update up front and center before you even get into the article, and it would have told him that this wasn't real, but he did it anyway.
I think he gets paid by Apple News if you look at his feed. Apple News, or is that his only source? Apple News, Apple.news, Apple News, Apple News.
Interesting.
Apple News.
I don't follow him on
Apple,
Twitter. As you know, I don't
Apple
like Twitter,
News,
but I follow him
Apple
on Insta.
News, Apple News, Apple News, Yahoo, which probably, how much you want to bet they took this story from CNN?
Or like the Independent or something. Is it up there? Isn't it?
Where's it? Madame Noir?
I don't even know what that is.
Madame Noir. So Black Woman magazine.
Oh.
That's what, for those of us who aren't French. Come on, Eric. Yeah, I don't see it. Maybe he deleted it, but it's all Apple News.
So I'm going to check.
It makes sense that Trump supporters would take ivermectin because just like them, it produces a lot of horse shit. Wow, DL, and this is a comedian.
Ayo.
That's the best. You'd think as much horse shit as ivermectin produces, Trumpers would be all for masks. Team DL hashtag. So lame. Apple News.
Dude, the guy, he's completely out of it. And another thing that he does, again, I'm looking at his Instagram here, is that him and Van Lathan from TMZ.
No.
He's
okay,
like the black guy from TMZ, and then T.I. I know he's one of your favorite rappers. They're posting this image. Men shouldn't be making laws about women's bodies. This really repetitive, again, cult-like image about this abortion thing. And it's like, why do you guys never have any like arguments or any sort of like one-liners or anything that's witty? It's just this weird robotic repetition, right? Like, remember we saw it a long time ago. Trans women are women. Trans women are women. Trans women are women. But now we have the completely opposite side of that coin where men shouldn't be making laws. But obviously we know that we've been told that men could get pregnant now. So
it's just weird to me. I just took a glimpse at his, and it's just weird how don't you think it's weird when you're on this, like every single thing? He's got 3 cops were just indicted for this. He's got anti-abortion stuff. He's got Governor Abbott. It's like, to me, it seems like he's just worked for the Democrats. When you're on one team side for literally everything, and that's all you tweet about is like these crappy jokes. Oh, it basically treating it like, oh, Republicans are all one thing. But if you just replace what he says with like black people, for example, guarantee he'd have a freak out. Guaranteed. Like he's retweeted something here that I just randomly see. And white people been trying to bully their way out of racism. Nothing to see here. It's what they do.
What does that even mean?
Republicans are trying to bully their way out of accountability for January 6th. And you're tweeting Vanity Fair stuff from Apple News, of course. Like, Vanity Fair is supposed to be like a women's fashion magazine? And this is your source for that shit? And white people have been trying to bully their way out of racism. Nothing to see here, says Concerned Brother 81. Black in America KKK. Like this is like your identity. Like this is, without these stories, this is your identity. And like, it's so sad. It's so hard to believe anybody who, like, first of all, you're supposed to be a comedian and none of this is funny, but like, this is all you got. This is all you got is just repeating everybody else's opinion. He's not even posting his own content. Let's move on. I want to see, I don't know if you watched that actual puppet of Dr. Fauci. It's hilarious. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell which side it's on, which maybe is good. But let's watch it. I think it's like a minute, but it's pretty funny.
Okay, who's not wearing a mask? Who's up for the rest of us? Please, sir, put on a mask. It'll hide your cold sore. Listen, people, I didn't live through polio, the Spanish flu, and 2 black plagues just to get COVID from you freaks. Do us a favor, wear a mask. Don't you want to live long enough to die from global warming? Hey, is that your boyfriend? No wonder you want to lose your sense of smell. I swear, the next person I see without a mask is getting hit with a handful of dimes. Hey, where's Waldo? Where's your mask?
Hey, screw you, man!
I want you to wear a mask, but I'll settle for a shirt. If I put the word juicy on it, would you wear a mask then? Come on, don't I remind you of the grandpa you'll probably get killed? Put on a mask, just to cover up those chins. Many of your heroes wear masks. Doctors, Batman, Leatherface, Michael Myers. Now tell your friend to put on a mask. I can smell his breath from here. Hey, Goofus, are you vaccinated?
Dr. Front!
Do it. You'll finally be able to eat bats again. Remember, dummies, vape smoke does not kill the virus.
I like why are you yelling back at a puppet? Is my question.
I assume that's
pretty
LA.
funny.
I think it's LA.
That might as well have been you doing the impression there, I think.
I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but
Your only impression is an old New Yorker. That's your impression.
well, Dr.
Fauci.
Fauci, he is an
Yeah.
old New Yorker, and he's always talking in word salad. He's like, George, what we see today with the kids for the virus has become more of, and it just goes on and on and on. It's like this
Now switch to
roundabout thing.
Cuomo.
Well, Cuomo was.
See, I was going to say it's all old Jewish or Italian guys, but it can't be the same thing. It's New York is the common denominator here.
Yeah, exactly. Queens, Brooklyn, all that stuff. But look, Fauci, he just talks in these word salad circles constantly where none of it makes any sense. I mean, I truly, and I know this has probably been brought up 100 times, but if Fauci is just the end all be all of science, how come we don't see him go? I mean, he makes the rounds ABC, NBC, MSNBC. He's not going to go talk to Laura Ingraham or Tucker. He's not going to talk to Greg Gutfeld. He's not going to go on Tim Pool.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to go talk to, anybody who's going to question him. I mean, why don't you think, how amazing would it be if Dr. Fauci went on Timcast IRL? I mean, and take some real questions from real people and not your corporate media talking heads. Now, obviously, Tim is a millionaire and he's got all these subs and stuff, but he's kind of the closest thing that we have to like a truthful
Middle of the road.
A middle of the road, yeah. It's the closest. I mean, maybe there's some more out there that I just don't know, but I mean, even Fox News has went to bat for the vaccine. Emily Campagno, who is gorgeous, and she's from Oakland, she shielded the vaccine. I mean, they're all shielding the vaccine. So you think he would at least be able to go on Fox. He could go talk to Tucker or Gutfeld, but he won't even do that. And they're corporate media shields who are not going to, nobody on Fox News is going to 100% say, I don't like this vaccine. I think it's stupid, because they still have to toe the line, and he won't even go talk to them.
Well, I think you can see what would happen there, just like when, what's his face from Twitter? Jack Dorsey went on Rogan with Tim Pool and with his lawyer there. And they have to face real questions, and they just don't have the answers, or they say we haven't heard or we haven't investigated that. I think that
when they're going to get back to you or something.
Yeah, no one. They can't do it in the face of real conversations. It just never works. That's why it can't happen. It's the same with the politicians, and we're in election season up here, so that's why it's most top of mind for me, because it can't happen once they get into real conversations for more than like a question plus a follow up. It just breaks down. The logic is not there. Now, granted, I'm sure some of them could bullshit their way through an argument, but if their views actually have to go through the ringer, like this new abortion law where the headlines don't even make an effort. It's like abortion ban, except it's a ban until it's a ban up to a certain point. Like, it's not a ban if you can still get one. Like, the conversation has to not happen in order for this to be like an ideological victory. Oh, it's a ban on an abortion. And then you're just like, wait, isn't the ban like you can still get one until there's a heartbeat, which is like somewhere between 5 to 8 weeks. So then it's not a ban. If you can still get something, it's a ban. So I don't know.
What they're arguing with that, I think, is that most women don't know they're pregnant until more than that. Now, again, that also leaves the assumption, though, that you have no control over your own self. Like, I mean, what's next? Like, are you going to wear a diaper? Are you going to ask somebody? You know what I mean? It's like, control yourself. There's the only people, right? So if you're trying to have a baby, if you are, if you're married or if you're in a steady relationship and you want to have a baby, then those are really the only people that this might affect, I guess. It's like, if you're just sleeping around and you don't know that you're pregnant, then that's still on you, bro. Like, do your own, stop.
I think there's a middle ground between Alabama, which is complete total ban, and Canada, which is zero laws against it. There's so many things. I wish there was just like a Canada show. Wish there was just a Canada show on some major network like Fox or CNN. CNN wouldn't want to do it, but just revealing like what our gun laws are, what our lack of abortion laws are. There's zero restrictions, absolutely zero. Now they might like take you into a room and be like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" There's adoption and everything, but there's still no laws. 5 minutes to go before the pregnancy. Obviously, it rarely ever happens, but 5 minutes before you have the baby, you can still do it.
That's crazy.
We don't have freedom of speech. We have hate speech laws. There's so many things that happen in Canada. Our gun ban list, which is a list of guns that are all banned because you can't differentiate mechanically between a rifle and a handgun. So they just banned a giant list of guns. Like, it's that sort of stuff. Like, people don't know about these rules. I'm trying to think of more, but the things that just get tucked up away up here, I wish people knew about, because we have so many weird laws compared to everybody else. And I'm sure it's worse in Australia now. It seems like it is.
Jesus. I can't even imagine what's going on in Australia. And then now, of course, there's this other, I guess we kind of deviated from Fauci. I don't know how we got so far. We went from Fauci to abortion, but now there's this other, this other clip, which I'm sure you've probably seen. I think it's in Paris, right? Where the cops are
right. I can find that.
Beating this woman to a pulp for apparently trying to shop without her papers.
That's the thing. No matter what they're there for, that can't be a good enough reason to go in and beat up two girls. But I did see the follow-up video seemed to be other people cheering for freedom and stopping it. Now, they didn't stop the cops from beating them up, which is of course a problem. I'm trying to find it on Ezra Levant's Twitter, but there's so many things he's tweeting the Ivermectin stuff. We can do something like this. There's a premier of Australia saying that people who are unvaccinated shouldn't be getting health care, which is, of course, Australia's so insane. Still looking for it.
How are they even continuing? I mean, when you say things like that, and this is an honest question, I truly don't know, and I don't know if anybody left, right, or center can explain this, but how would you possibly continue to pretend that this is about health when you're actively hoping that people can't get medical care because they didn't get the shot? And this is very real, by the way. A friend of mine last week, a couple days ago, a woman sent me a screenshot of a text message she actually got, not Photoshop, not a meme, not a viral thing, a text message from an OBGYN in New York saying that they will not welcome women into their office if they don't get the shot. This is an intimate doctor for women.
We get tons of emails like that all the time. The emails are limitless of this school has banned us because we're not vaccinated. My doctor won't let me come in for this procedure because I'm unvaccinated. So many things. It's pretty much everything in Canada at this point that they're all, one of our reporters at Rebel, Mocha, the famous Turkish guy, he's at the Montreal airport, which is federal jurisdiction. So the vaccine passport hasn't taken place yet, but there is one in Quebec. But of course, the airport's federal jurisdiction. Restaurant let him in last week. This week, they literally asked him for his papers. I need your vaccine proof. But the Tim Hortons, of course, on the other side of the airport would let him eat. So I'm guessing Tim Hortons is going to be on the essential services list of places because our vaccine passport that's coming in our province is grocery stores aren't included, places of worship, stuff like that. Essential services. I'm sure that will come, of course. Everything always comes, but right now it's limited to just fun things and things that you want to do on your free time. I found the clips. Here's the guy. Here it is. So these cops running through this mall. Camera guys chasing them. This is like a SWAT team of cops. At least they've got batons. The red armbands with the all black is a good look, Eric.
Yeah, very dystopian. Oh,
and let's just beat these women with batons
for your health.
Oh, because this girl in the blue does not appear to be wearing a mask. If we can, right here, yeah, she's not wearing a mask. Unbelievable, right?
This is, I don't know which is worse, this or the clip we had last week of the very theatrical Australian perp walk of the guy.
Yeah.
I guess this is worse because they're actually batoning these chicks.
Yeah.
But I mean, how is this? I'm speechless. I mean, how can these guys really go home and say we kept somebody safe by beating somebody to a pulp with a billy club or whatever?
That's what Ezra's tweet said about it. It was like, what did you do? What was it like when you were on the force, Dad? Well, we went through a mall and we beat people for not wearing masks. So here's the cops. I know there's no audio right now, but here's the cops are being driven out of the mall by these people who are refusing vaccine passports.
Good. At least, I mean, I really don't know, man. This is not good. Or maybe it is good. Maybe this is the start. I mean, when the New York restaurants started suing, again, I hate to beat a dead horse and pat myself on the back, but I filed a lawsuit against Mayor Bill de Blasio for stepping on my First Amendment when they arrested us for protesting. And more than a year later, the restaurant owners are finally like, okay, I guess we better do something. So maybe this is us. Again, every time I think we hit rock bottom, it's not the bottom.
Well, Eric, the thing about that is that French people have historically had a reason to protest, and they've actually done it when they felt like their rights were being trampled and taken away. The French are very proud people with their Pepsis and their poutines. My people. But yeah, French people usually revolt. It took them longer now. I mean, they don't have a problem with the mass immigration, it seems like, which resulted in many attacks, of course. But they seem to be standing up. I mean, in Quebec here, which is a different kind of French, I guess you could call it, they're really protesting. But is it getting anything done? No, I don't think so. They're going to have to vote them out. It shouldn't be too hard for them to vote their guy out if they're unhappy with them. The problem is, in Canada, people seem to be okay with what's going on. I mean, it's hard to tell the real numbers, of course. It's only like 30% of people haven't been vaccinated, but how many of those people agree with a vaccine passport? Maybe half, maybe less. I don't know. But
and where does it end? I mean, right? We already hearing about boosters and all that stuff. So, I mean,
oh yeah, I should find that Israel article. That shouldn't be too hard to find. I know writer Dave sent it earlier today.
And let me ask you this though, just out of sheer curiosity. I mean, do you feel confident in the voting procedure? Because here in the States, it can't be trusted. I think we know that, right? Like, you can say what you want about the 2020 election, but I think even before that, there were people that didn't trust it. I mean, right? We can go back to when we were just kids and Florida and Al Gore and George Bush and all that stuff. People didn't trust it then. And that was before everybody had the internet in their pocket. So now when you can actually go through and look at stuff and you can see the rallies happening, you can see Joe Biden, looking out his basement window or attic window or whatever it is. So I guess my question to you is, because I know from where I'm sitting, the elections, Larry Elder, all that stuff none of it's going to be trustworthy. Now, I might have to eat that if Larry Elder wins, and then people are going to say, well, then the right wing cheated. Okay, fine. But I mean, do you trust the process there?
Well, the thing is, the vote for the actual leaders vote before, like the conservative leaders vote, was using the machines. What company are they called again?
Not Dominion.
Yeah, the Dominion voting machines are used up here. There's an office in Toronto. They used it for the Conservative Party election, so people obviously don't believe that. But we have paper ballot voting here. You go in, present your identification, believe it or not. You need your voter registration card and a piece of ID, and they check you off on the list.
That sounds a little racist.
And if you don't have that, you have to have mail addressed to you with your ID. Then you fill it out with a pencil on a piece of paper with an X, and you put it in the slot. And then Gertrude or Philip, whoever the old white people are manning the station, take it, and they smile and they say, "Have a nice day." But what people are most worried about are the mail-in ballots here, because of course they want to push those because it's unsafe. It's funny that they don't talk about this now, but the original excuse for not wanting to have an election from the Conservatives and the New Democrat Party, where it's too dangerous to have an election, which of course meant that we're going to lose and we don't want it. But as Justin Trudeau went across the country and got booed everywhere, they started to change their tune, because now they're both gaining. And I want to transition that, Eric, into our leader being terrible, because this is his latest statement. Now, today he's already gone back on. I talked to you about the banned gun list. He was going to repeal the list that they came out with in 2020 last year in May, which included all these rifles that they don't like. So he's already flip-flopped on that. Today, there's too much pressure, I guess, on Twitter for him to keep the ban list. So he's backed off on that. And then they said this is a great initiative. Happy to join this worthwhile cause. And what it is Jagmeet Singh. He's the part of the Socialist Party, we'll call them, because they are. New Democratic Party. Issues a letter to federal leaders, Trudeau, O'Toole, Annamie Paul, it's the Green Party. Yves Blanchet is the French guy, calling them on to drop partisanship and come together ahead of the next debate to record a message urging Canadians to get vaccinated. And, of course, they're all pathetic. So he says, this is a great initiative, Jagmeet Singh. I'd be very happy to join in this worthwhile cause. Do you think that if you said anything or suggested anything, the NDP or the Liberals would say that's a great idea. No, they wouldn't, because then they'd be saying that the Conservatives aren't evil and aren't pieces of garbage. Why, for the love of God, they think that they can get these other votes, or that they can come together and other people will be impressed with them by going back on their morals, going back on their positions, joining in harmony with them? It doesn't make any sense. It's so weak, and we can't get a single person in this country to stand up and say, no, these are our views, these are our values. A single conservative person or alleged conservative person, we can't get them to say that. It's too difficult for them to go against Twitter. It's pathetic. They can't do anything. They can't hold any position for more than 2 years before it gets, the Overton window is shifted, and all of a sudden we're way more liberal. And this is coming from a person who's never been a member of any party. I've never, just shilled for any party. But it's so weak when just, oh, no, this is okay now. It's the same thing in the States where and who was saying it? John Doyle was saying it, I think. No, it wasn't John Doyle. Somebody saying that now it was James Klug, I want to say. Let me think about this for a second. I want to say it was John Doyle, but it wasn't. No, it was actual Justice Warrior Sean Fitzgerald. He was on Slightly Offensive saying, he was getting Republicans messaging him and them saying that who am I to say that drag queens shouldn't be telling children stories in school? So it's so weak that you just let the Overton window shift, where all of a sudden you have to give up your values to appease people who think you're terrible and would never vote for you. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and you're never going to win them over, right? You're never going to win them over. So it doesn't make any sense. Just out of curiosity, does he have a book or something? He seems like I haven't heard from actual Justice Warrior in a long time, and then all of a sudden he's touring, doing he was on your show recently, right?
Yeah, he's just got a YouTube channel. It's just that he's in Texas and that's where everybody is now, so he probably gets to join in on all that stuff.
Because I used to watch his content on YouTube all the time, and I don't know, I don't know if I don't know what happened. I don't know. I didn't even know he was still making videos, and now all of a sudden he's everywhere. Suddenly. So interesting.
Was it you who said to watch the Malice in the Palace thing, or was that Gary Sheffield Jr.?
I think we both kind of said it. Did you watch it?
Yeah, we watched it last night, and the girls liked it too, because just like Ron Artest and Steven Jackson and Jermaine O'Neal, they're just all psycho. And then their general manager is just like, I'm going to throw all these crazy guys together and see how it works out. It's a great documentary, even if you're not a basketball fan. These pathetic fans, though, Eric, the guy who threw the cup, and then the two fat brothers who went on the court, they're just crazy. Dicks.
It's crazy. And that was 2004 is a long time ago.
Yeah. Back when and then their attire, because they brought in the dress code right after, the things that they would wear. Oh man, what a time to be alive. It really was like the thug era.
Yeah, and I think we've kind of gotten, I don't know if it's like a backlash now. They're so soft, and they're all woke, and Steph Curry and LeBron are just these powder puff guys of LeBron is what? 6'9", 280 or whatever. I mean, he's a monstrosity, but he's just the softest little Twitter fingers weasel ever to play the game. So it's sad watching it. And Steph, of course, I'm from Oakland, I'm from the Bay Area. I remember when the Warriors were good and watching him shoot it from half court. But then he goes out to the DNC to shill for Joe Biden, and it's clear that. Again, no shade. I don't mean any. Actually, I do mean some disrespect. But it's hilarious to watch this guy pretend. Because look, you can look in his eyes when he's at the DNC and know that he has no idea what he's talking about. It's almost like Joe Biden just reading the teleprompter, but the words aren't actually registering. Just say the lines, bro, and they do it, and it's sad. It's obvious to me, but there's people that still buy it.
I thought you were going to get into a Chank impression there for a second. They're doing all this thing. Look, all right. It's bullshit. What are you?
What's his catchphrase? Of course.
Of course it is. You stupid idiots. What's wrong with you? It might as well be a Nicolas Cage playing him. A, B, C.
And what's the other chick who was actually kind of cute but just awful?
Yeah, you would love a communist, Anna Kasparian.
Yeah, I mean, if you never heard her say one word, you'd be like, oh, she's a cute girl. But then she talks, and you're like, what is wrong with this chick?
So that's not the only thing wrong with her. Her talking is Israel's vaccine. Armenian genocide took them like 6 years to talk about. Israel's vaccine passport will expire 6 months after the second dose, meaning people will need to get booster shots to keep going to restaurants and bars. And I like the video they have here: 6 times Trump contradicted public officials with the coronavirus. Have to throw that in there. Business Insider, Marion Guano.
Business Insider is awful. They're awful.
Israel set an expiration date on its vaccine passport, which enables access to restaurants and bars. It's funny how it would have been a conspiracy to say that everything that happens in Israel ends up happening for the rest of the world, but it is. A booster shot received within 5 months of the second dose extends the pass's validity by 6 months. Israel has already delivered, but their vaccination program isn't working well is the thing. They were once one of the most vaccinated, and then they pretty much put a halt to it because of how many people were getting sick from the Delta strain, if I'm not mistaken, because they chose a different vaccination, or I forget which one they used, but it's one that is proven to not be as good as the one they're using in the United States. I know the UK is using the different one that's from the US, but so every 6 months, Eric, I believe. Every 6 months, I believe, was the. I know it was my original prediction, but that's probably what most people said. Is it not?
This is just so insane. I don't even know what to make of this. Like, how much longer are people like? Are we really gonna do? So this is it for the rest of our lives. You're gonna have to. And now what they have the story about the pills, like so.
What do you mean?
A twice daily pill that like supplements the shots.
I have not heard of this.
Oh, you should try to pull that up. I think right now it's only in kind of like a, I can't even say the word beta without laughing. Like a beta.
You saying you're not a Jesse Lee Peterson fan? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I think Jesse Lee's hilarious. But I'm looking it up for myself. Because I'll be honest, I didn't thoroughly research this. I just kind of did the headline warrior thing where it's like, oh, 2 more pills. And I watched a Tim Pool video about it. So I think it's real, but it really does make all of the conspiracy theorists look sane, right? I mean, we were all just awful people a year ago, and now it's like, oh, this is actually I think it's by Pfizer. I think.
You know, you keep saying, or you kept saying, maybe people are going to start waking up now. Maybe people are going to start waking up after you need it every 6 months. This is just, all this means is that you're buying this product over and over again. It's not direct. The government's using your tax dollars to buy this product over and over again. And you're just going to keep accepting it. And people are going to have vaccine cards. And they're going to be so proud that they've gotten it every 6 months. And it's just like, how did you get to the point where the government gets to require you to get an injection every 6 months? How did you allow this? I don't know.
I think now allow me to go deeper into the realm of conspiracies, but it kind of has this first one's free type of thing, right? So that's what Chuck Schumer is free, and of course it's not. That's a completely different story, but it's free. People are paying for fake cards when the vaccine's free. All you have to do is get it. It's free. Go to a train station in Brooklyn and they'll give it to you. You know, at the Barclays Center. It's free.
Everything good comes from a train station.
Exactly. So not only does it have this really creepy like drug dealer type of vibe, it's like they're hanging out outside the college. It's like back when I was in college in San Francisco, there was this like something out of a movie, bro. There was this like older guy. He must have been like 45 years old. That was always hanging around the school trying to get people to buy weed and drugs from him. And that's what this feels like. It's like, well, I gave you that first one for free, but now you need another one every 5 months. Now, those will be free, but the pills won't be free, but you're going to need them all the time because the first one I gave you was so strong that you got high, but these ones are going to be less strong, so you're going to need more of them to get the same feeling. And it's all just this convoluted mess of fake nonsense. And I hate to say it, but like, dude, my family is buying into this hook, line, and sinker out in California, and just like, well, we just have to do what they say. It's like, read a book. What is wrong with you? Like,
I'm glad. I don't always get along with my family, Eric, but my family has always been, you tell me to do something, I'm not going to do it. So I can trust that, like, my brother's not going to do it for religious reasons. My oldest brother's not going to do it because he doesn't like the government. My sister's not going to do it because she doesn't care. So I think my mother's got it. Her and her husband, because they're old. My dad might have it because he's in Quebec. But once they like, that's actually an age group that's at risk. Like, I can't lie. I'm not going to lie about that. So if you're that afraid of it, then go get it. But like, it's the coercion that's the problem. You mentioned the Moderna. We were supposed to talk with the fake passport lady.
Yeah.
Fake Moderna. Globalnews.ca, Canada website. Globalist news, you mean? So she wrote Moderna wrong, and she was arrested in Hawaii by Dog the Bounty Hunter. I wish that was the part. Chloe Morozak.
Fake news.
That's one indication. Special Agent William Lau told local broadcaster. Yeah, that there were other elements to the card that. So now you're telling people how to get around it. They did an excellent job of notifying us, he said. Investigators built their case for a few days and then arrested Morozak when she arrived at the airport for a return flight. Where is it? Right here is where she wrote Moderna, March 24th. I don't know what that says.
I actually love this story. I want to ask this woman out on a date. I think it's hilarious. I think
at the Oahu airport.
The fact that she got all the way to Hawaii with a misspelled card, I think is just amazing. It makes me laugh. Like, that's how little she cares about it. She's like, you know what? I couldn't even be bothered to actually learn how to spell the name of the company.
Yeah.
I'm for like. I mean, this is just epic stuff, in my humble opinion. And that what she's gonna get, like De Blasio says, she's gonna get 7 years, or where's she from? Illinois or something? I forget exactly.
Yeah,
where she was from. Yeah. So this is now. Keep in mind, of course, Illinois is not all Chicago. That's not what I'm trying to say here. But the state of Illinois obviously has some bigger problems than fake vaccine passports, as does New York, right? But here we are.
No way.
No way. I mean,
Hawaii reminded me of Dog the Bounty Hunter, and it turns out Dog the Bounty Hunter is getting married. So I just wanted to see what he looked like in 2021. Turns out, according to TMZ, Dog the Bounty Hunter off the market, ladies. He's looking hot. He's looking leathery and tanned. He should have a show with Hulk Hogan.
When you said leathery, I was just thinking, it was like, kind of reminds of a little Hulkamania action. Wait,
he doesn't look bad, frankly. I don't know how old he is.
Did his last wife died? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Haunter, I spelled. He's only 68. I thought he'd be older for some reason. We have, while we're here, an Eric Butler story from the TatumReport.com. Police in Australia investigate themselves following possible breach of COVID restriction. You want to tell us about this story?
Yeah. So this is in like a town in Sydney. I think it's called Blacktown. I'm sure they'll change that soon. So not only did they breach the restrictions, but they did it to celebrate the gays. So not only are you breaking, I mean, if this doesn't tell you that this is nothing but politics, nothing else will, right? Especially, so Australia, home to some of the craziest lockdowns. Oh, okay, so you guys got,
yeah, you sourced us. Very good.
Yeah, I linked to that. Okay,
this is insider trading if I've ever seen it. This wasn't prepared, everybody. I promise you.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, so they're locking people down. I mean, just extremely. And then not only do they have a party, they could have just had a party to celebrate one of the cops' birthdays or something, and that would have been bad enough. But they did it to celebrate youth, LGBT, for the youth. Not just a regular gay pride thing, but for like, the levels to this madness is just insane. And so who thinks that they're gonna say, well, we looked into it and we decided we're going to go to jail for 6 months. Like,
I don't understand. Who are these guys? Like, and this happens in the UK, of course. It must just be like a British thing, British and UK, Australia thing. But who are these guys that are cops that are just like, yeah, let's have this LGBT rainbow party, and like, they're like, I get it if it's just the gay people on the force that do it, and maybe that's what it is. But who are these guys that are just they're so weak that they're just like, I'm just going to accept anything. I can't judge any single thing. I have to be part of it. Like up here, there's a pride parade every year.
that's actually a great point. Like who stands for this?
And I remember being in high school and all the girls were like, we're going to the pride parade. Do you guys, are the guys coming? And the guys are like, no. And they're just like, oh my God, why not? Why don't you just want to go to pride? Like, it's just fun. It's just an expression. You're just expressing your pride. And it's like, and then fast forward like years later and pride bans cops because Black Lives Matter says that they can't go.
Oh, God.
That escalated quickly. We were talking about Australia, so I wanted to encourage people to go watch this video. Basically, the cops arrested a cameraman and didn't realize that he still had the camera on. He just put the lens cap on. So then they conspired his charges while the camera was on, recording their audio. And they just came up with charges that they admittedly knew wouldn't stick. And because they said if they charged him for something and he went out again to protest, they'd be able to put him in jail. So that's a crazy video that you guys should watch. Extreme crookedness going on in Australia. Anything else you want to talk about before we skedaddle on this wonderful Sunday afternoon? And if you look behind me, there's a window. I'm currently in Alaska. That's where I am today.
No, let me think. Nothing else. I was gonna mention. I guess just really quick. Of course, the recall is really coming down the pipe, and I don't know if we mentioned it last week, but they are freaking out. All of the Hollywood elites are freaking out. They're posting their little.
Yes, I saw you post about that.
Dude, that is just insane. And Newsom is raising money now. And I've talked to some California people who was I talking to? Nick, he's been on the show before, and he has zero faith in. So I think really quickly, me and my buddy Nick, we both think that Newsom will remain in office. Now, me personally,
why is that?
I think he's going to remain in office because they are going to cheat. We've seen the stories about California sending out ballots out of the state. We've seen the story about them catching that convicted felon sleeping in his car with 300 ballots. Nick thinks that people in California are going to actually vote to keep him. And I don't believe that to be true simply because the momentum is with the recall, right? If people weren't angry enough, then they wouldn't have signed the petition. They wouldn't have got 3 million signatures or whatever it is. So the momentum, I mean, a recall doesn't happen every day. Now, of course, it is actually fairly frequent in California because the corruption is so deep, but that's another story. So
I wish we had that here.
Yeah, and I think there's also some people who are suggesting that it's spread, and I think the Democratic Party is actually pretty afraid of that possibility. But with the momentum on the side of the recall, because again, this is what I think he's 2 years in. He's not even halfway through his term, and they're like, this guy's awful. So, but Nick says that people are still gonna vote no on the recall because they're so brainwashed, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I think the people that are paying attention definitely want Newsom gone, but the powers that be want to keep him. And as pessimistic as it sounds, your vote just doesn't count, bro. They're gonna do it anyways. They're just gonna do it anyways.
Who is all in the race? So do they have to recall him and then vote for a new person? Like, do you do that all at once, or does the recall have to go through before they vote for a new person?
So it's 2 questions. Yes, vote for any Californians watching. Vote yes on the recall. Vote yes on the recall. Get rid of that guy. And this might be better than having Cuomo step down because you can choose who's going to replace him. So if I think, don't quote me on this, but I think it's 50% or whatever. It's some percentage that they have to get to vote yes to recall. So once, if they say yes, then he's gone. It doesn't even matter. Then at that point, you could have 40 candidates, and whoever gets, 4%, all you have to do is get the most percentage of the votes. Now, I think most people are saying it's going to be Larry Elder. There's some other guys who might have a chance, but if they vote
Jenner by any chance?
You know what? It's kind of funny that Caitlyn is not really in the conversation anymore. I think because what he's done, he, she, shim. I don't. Are we
she
going,
sure?
Yeah, Zimzer.
My computer just exploded because you misgendered him.
Has turned off, obviously pretending to be a Republican while walking around with breast implants and a dress at 70 years old. But I digress. So you've pandered to the left by doing this whole transgender thing, eliminating all your right-wing supporters, but you still have an R next to your name, so the left-wing supporters aren't gonna support you anyway. I think that ship has sailed. Unfortunately, I think that California is just gonna cheat. Now they do have the Hollywood backing and all that stuff, but think about even that desperation shows that they are a little bit nervous about it. And it's just a complete mess. I think, what was it, a 2002 or something, when they got rid of the old governor and then put in Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, Arnold.
I'm the governor. What do you need your freedoms for? You don't need the freedoms. Get the COVID vaccine, you stupid idiots. I come from a country where everything is free and nothing bad will ever happen when the government forces you to do things. In Austria and Germany, we never did these things. We never forced people to do anything against the will. We sent them to the nice places when they didn't listen to us. To hell with your freedoms.
So he came
things of that nature.
He came here and got rich in Hollywood.
Exactly.
And yeah, so
now he hates
that's
your
all.
freedom.
That's all a mess. I think that was really it, man. And then, dude, it just never ends. It just never ends. Like I said, I think we're gonna reach the bottom, but then we get lower. I think people are gonna wake up. But then I read some comments on like a big left-wing page. DL Hughley, like we talked about earlier, has 2 million followers on Insta. I don't even know. He probably might have more on Twitter. He's probably more popular on Twitter. But when you read some of these comments, they all just fall in line. And I used to go in there and throw like one-liners, but then I get attacked so heavily that I think people are going to start reporting my account, and then I'm going to get kicked off. So I try to keep my mouth shut, because it's like arguing with a brick wall. I don't think anybody has ever said, "Oh, actually, that kind of makes sense." So I don't know if it's worth getting my account deleted if 24 brainwashed lefties start reporting my account. So I don't know, man. We got a mess on our hands, as per usual.
All those social media posts were ridiculous. Like Amy Schumer, there was Orlando Bloom, which is why he always dies in movies. I forget
Chrissy
who else,
Teigen, of course.
Oh, and she's completely sane. It's like you're so partisan that like you live in California. Are you so blind, like the homelessness, the drug addiction, the income disparity, the illegal immigration, the gang violence? You're so partisan that you think the guy who's let this war run wildly out of control, causing like some of the biggest names in entertainment to leave the the state, but you're so partisan that you can't, like, that you're just copying and pasting this image that was sent to you, clearly all made by the same person, clearly distributed through the same group of wherever they get their directives from, and like you're so partisan that it has to be a Democrat. Forget, like, Larry Elder is not an edgy Republican. He's pretty much a neocon with a bit more sensibility. I haven't heard him say anything pro-war or anything like that, but he made a lot of statements that made like the younger generation of conservatives in the U.S. unhappy with him. And this is still like
libertarian. He's like libertarian, like,
and he's a person of color. And it's like, no, we have to keep in this terrible governor just because the Democrat and the Republicans are going to kill you. It's like they don't remember that California used to be a Republican state. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm
Chrissy
excited
Teigen,
for it too.
Great role model, Chrissy Teigen. Throw up the book, Eric.
Oh, of course.
Throw the book at him, Sonny. Eric Butler from the Tatum Report. God, me and my girlfriend have been watching a lot of British television. Eric Butler.
Oh, you watch Peep Show? Watch Peep Show.
No, I don't know what that is.
Oh,
He's
it's
from the
like a-
TatumReport.com. This is kind of just my old-timey announcer was. TatumReport.com. Eric Butler reports Australia gone mad. You can find him on the Twitter machine at Report and at Report and Opine on Twitter and the instant gramification. I am Andrew Says from the rebelnews.com. You can also find me on this YouTube channel. Thanks everybody for watching. Please subscribe on YouTube if you're not subscribed already, because Twitter, I mean, it's good that you watch it on there, but we want you to subscribe so you can see every time it's happening, Eric.
Push
We're
the
going to get on
notification
Spotify
bell.
too. Hit the bell. Please like, share, and subscribe. And buy Eric's book. And that's about all I got to say, I think.